Imagine walking into a room and being immediately captivated by a glowing, thriving slice of the actual ocean, right there in the living room. It's totally breathtaking, right? I mean, a custom centerpiece aquarium absolutely transforms a space. But, well, here's the secret that really separates a mesmerizing, crystal clear aquatic ecosystem from, a stressful, incredibly expensive puddle on your floor. The magic actually happens long before the tank is ever even delivered. So, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are exploring the hidden depths of custom aquarium builds. We're going to break down the absolutely crucial, meticulous planning required to pull off a stunning custom tank. We'll be relying on some fantastic expert insights to guide us through the architectural and the biological realities of bringing a living world right into your home. So here is our architectural blueprint for today's explainer. We are going to start off with setting your aquatic goal. Then we'll move right into the realities of space, unpack budgeting beyond the glass, cover those non-negotiable safety needs, and finally, we'll wrap up with commissioning and long-term success. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, setting your aquatic goal, design driven by biology. It is incredibly tempting to just pick out a really beautiful glass shape and figure out what goes inside it later. But successful builds do the exact opposite. To build a stable environment, you have got to lock in your target early. So, are you envisioning a complex, super vibrant saltwater reef? Or maybe a lush, green, freshwater planted tank? Are you looking for a low-maintenance setup with just a few hardy fish? Or are we talking about a high-detailed aquascape that's going to require daily tinkering? You need to make these decisions on elements like the adult size of your chosen fish, their territorial behaviors, species compatibility, and whether the system is meant for live rock or dense vegetation. And why is that? Because the livestock literally dictates the hardware. Your lighting intensity, your filtration capacity, even your indoor viewing height preferences, they all change significantly based on these biological goals. You aren't just designing a tank here, you are engineering a very specific habitat.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the realities of space, the physical footprint. Let's think about this using a house metaphor for a second. You can design a completely gorgeous mansion, but if the foundation is built on quicksand, well, it's going to collapse. A custom aquarium is only as practical as its installation site. You don't just measure the glass. Build teams and clients absolutely must confirm the floor strength. Remember, water weighs over 8 pounds per gallon. That means a custom tank can easily weigh thousands of pounds. You've got to verify the levelness of the stand, map out clearance for all that complex plumbing, and ensure you have adequate cabinet depth. Honestly, you even have to measure your hallways and door widths just to make sure you can get the equipment inside the building. Confirming these load realities and layout constraints early on is just vital. It dictates your equipment selection, and trust me, it prevents massively costly redesigns once that incredibly heavy system is already sitting in your living room. So ask yourself, can the filter actually be accessed without moving furniture? It sounds so obvious, doesn't it? But it's a trap so many first-time builders fall right into. You absolutely must have a safe, easily accessible path for hoses, cords, and your own hands to perform long-term service. Because look, if doing a routine water change requires a furniture dolly and an hour of rearranging your living room, you are eventually going to stop doing it. And when that happens, the ecosystem will crash.
Next up, Section 3, budgeting beyond the glass, the financial iceberg. I really like to call this the financial iceberg because what you actually see on the surface is only a tiny fraction of the reality. The tank itself, the actual glass box, is just one single slice of this total budget pie. A truly quality custom build requires a serious investment in filtration components, specialized lighting, heating or cooling chillers, plumbing parts, and dosing or monitoring tools. And we can't forget, you also have to budget for the initial cycling period to establish your biological filtration, plus backup options just in case of a power outage. Oh, and the ongoing operating costs. The electricity to run those high-intensity lights and pumps, the water usage for top-offs, and your schedule for replacing media and parts. You really need to ask your builder for a very detailed scope of what is included versus what is optional, right from day one. Now, when you see all those costs laid out, it's super tempting to just cut corners. But remember this, upfront expenses equal a significantly reduced risk of system swings and vastly easier day-to-day care. Elements like electronic leak detection, custom sumps, automated water top-off systems, or specialized filtration, these aren't just fancy optional toys. They are absolutely smart investments in the tank's biological stability. They do the heavy lifting for you so you can actually sit back and enjoy the view instead of constantly battling water chemistry issues. Let's move to Section 4, non-negotiable safety needs. Infrastructure first.
To keep going with our house metaphor, you wouldn't start wiring the electrical system after you've already painted the drywall, would you? Of course not. That's crazy. Well, in the world of aquariums, utility and infrastructure planning has to come first. As our source material brilliantly points out, many build issues come down to utility planning. Where your outlets are located, how your cables are carefully routed, whether your high-end equipment is genuinely protected from splash and humidity. I promise you, these details will cause the most catastrophic headaches if you ignore them until the tank is full of salt water. Let's rapidly sequence through these absolute necessities to see how we build a robust system. For electricity, you strictly need GFCI protection to prevent shocks. You must have drip loops, meaning the cord dips down before reaching the outlet, so if any stray water drops happen, they drip onto the floor instead of running straight into the electrical socket. You need cord strain relief and safe dry placement for all those power supplies. On the plumbing side, you've got to confirm your shutoff valves, your drainage options for those water changes, and exactly how emergency overflow scenarios are going to be handled if a pump just happens to fail. So, the crucial point here is that safety is a fundamental design element. It is not some retrofitted add-on. Remember, you are combining hundreds of gallons of highly conductive salt water with high-voltage electronics. The very best custom builds out there integrate every single one of these safety measures directly into the architectural layout long before the stand is even built. Which brings us to our final stage, Section 5, Commissioning and Long-Term Success, Bringing the Ecosystem to Life. Okay, the hardware is in place, the plumbing is glued, and the lights are on. Now we finally bring the ecosystem to life. But hey, fair warning, responsible builders never, ever rush the biofiltration cycling timeline. Before a single fish is introduced, you need a very concrete roadmap for commissioning the system. First up, thorough leak testing of every single joint and seal. Second, temperature stabilization, just to ensure those heaters and chillers are holding a totally steady climate. Third, salinity and water chemistry checks where relevant. And fourth, strict monitoring of parameters during the cycling phase, which is when all those beneficial bacteria colonize the tank to actually handle fish waste. A reputable builder is going to explicitly explain what they test, how often they test it, and exactly what measurements indicate that the water is finally safe for your livestock. Adding living organisms too quickly, it's honestly the fastest way to experience a heartbreaking setback. And you know, even after the fish are swimming around happily, the relationship with your build team really shouldn't end. You need to clarify what ongoing support looks like right out of the gate. Does the builder offer remote troubleshooting, maintenance guidance, regular service visits? Crucially, you need documentation. Insist on getting clear records from them, comprehensive equipment lists, detailed wiring plans, and very specific care notes for your species. Having this clear documentation on hand makes future maintenance immensely faster, vastly safer, and way less stressful. Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today, right? Transitioning from a purely abstract dream to the very concrete realities of biology, load-bearing weight, budgeting, safety infrastructure, and ecological commissioning. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder. Is your space truly ready for a living centerpiece? Because custom aquarium builds are deeply rewarding, and the results are literally spectacular, but they only succeed when you fully embrace the hidden depths required to actually maintain that beautiful aquatic ecosystem. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer. I really hope this helps you build the tank of your dreams. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.